Star Wars Ahsoka has just been released. But even as a huge Star Wars fan, I'm getting a little bit confused on the timeline. So in this video, let me explain to you the timeline of Star Wars and exactly where Ahsoka falls into it. Well, there's only one place to start on the Star Wars timeline, and that is with Star Wars The Acolyte. Now, you may have never heard of it, but it is coming soon. So therefore, it needs to be on the timeline. It is set nearly 100 years before The Phantom Menace, and a former padawan reunites with their Jedi Master to investigate some crimes. But the forces they confront are far more sinister than they expect. But let's not waste too much time talking about something that hasn't happened yet, and move on to the next step in this timeline. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. We then move on to Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. But we have some stuff that went down before Episode 3, starting with the Clone Wars, and then again, the Clone Wars, and then the Clone Wars final season, and then Clone Wars the movie. All of this happening before we got to Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, we all know The New Hope was the first movie to be released, but a lot of stuff happened before that one. We had the TV series Bad Batch, which takes place just before the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. And after the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie is the Solo movie, which is to be followed by something we haven't seen yet. Lando will be his own TV series based on a young Lando Calrissian. And I'm quite excited for this because the Lando project has been kicked around by Disney for a while now, and Donald Glover is going to be playing Lando again. But again, let's not waste too much time on that and keep moving forward. And no, it's not Rogue One next. Just before Rogue One, we have Star Wars Rebels, and then one of the newer TV shows, Star Wars Andor, which is then followed by Star Wars A New Hope. Now, if you remember the name Star Wars Rogue Squadron, that's because it used to be a game, but we now know that they're bringing it to our screens, but the plot is currently kept under wraps. But we know it will centre on the Rebel Alliance Starfighter Squadron from the Star Wars films. Next, we have the Star Wars Holiday Special, which I'm literally going to waste no time on. Quickly moving on, we have Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. Now, before the Return of the Jedi, there are 4 things we probably should add into this timeline. You had the Caravan of Courage, the Battle of Endor, Ewoks, and droids, and then Return of the Jedi. And in between Return of the Jedi and the next major film, we have more of the current TV series, including The Mandalorian and Boba Fett. And there's also Rangers of the New Republic, which was meant to be released this year, but it just never happened. So I don't know whether to include that or not, but we're gonna. Now, after these, we get into Episode 7, The Force Awakens. And in between Episode 7 and Episode 8, The Last Jedi, nothing happens. But before we get to Episode 9, we have Star Wars Resilience and Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And then Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Now, there are also some minis and some shorts that do not follow these timelines. These include Star Wars Forces of Destiny, Star Wars Galaxies of Adventures, Star Wars Visions, and Star Wars A Droid Story. But where does Ahsoka fit into this timeline? If you're an avid watcher of the TV series and films, you already know. You've seen Ahsoka in Boba Fett. And it goes Mandalorian, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and then that Rangers of the New Republic, which we can't even talk about because we have no idea. And I think Ahsoka is a great chapter to add into this Star Wars universe. And we've seen Ahsoka in different projects throughout time, and it's great that now that they have their own standalone show. And I know there's a lot of people getting bored and sick of all the Star Wars stuff, but I'm happy with it. I think the movies need to break up a bit. I don't think we need another movie anytime soon. We're getting one, but we don't need it. What we do need is we need to pick out these characters from along the story and give them their own shows. There've been so many characters along the way, just like the Lando one coming out, giving us many opportunities to explore and learn more about what we've already seen, instead of chucking more stuff our way. And I think all the time that they do that, we'll never get bored of it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope this has cleared at least something up for you, or just helped clarify what you already knew. Now, you might be wondering, Darren, Lord K, why aren't you screaming? Why aren't you shouting? That's because I take Star Wars seriously. I don't mess about when it comes to Star Wars. And one of the main reasons I want Star Wars to keep going is because it's a lifelong dream of mine to be in, I don't know, a film or an episode of Star Wars. So therefore, we can never let it die. Anyway, until the next episode, make sure to like and subscribe, and key hunter!